It's Nolan. What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. All right, man. I know we just finished a Joe Budden video. I typically don't like to talk about the same person or the same celebrity, whatever, in the same day. You know what I mean? But Joe Budden definitely has the internet in a clutch right now. So we're just going to keep rolling with this. Now, in his latest interview with Benny the Butcher, they talked about all of the Hip Hop 50 celebrations that have been going on since, all last year pretty much. And they talked about how it's not doing what he believes it should be doing, right? He says he's not tuning into them. He's watching them. He's feeling underwhelmed. And it seems that the entire room kind of feels the same way in some effect. Even Benny the Butcher, he said he hasn't been watching them. He hasn't caught them. He's been busy on his own, you know what I mean? He's a signed artist. He signed to Def Jam now. He's moving around. He's doing press. He's putting album together, getting music videos out, doing features for local artists in Buffalo, all this different type of stuff. So I can understand how he might be moving around too much to catch everything. But they had a conversation about it nonetheless. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just play Joe Budden's audio so that we could go ahead and get to this quickly and succinctly. I don't want to be on here all day talking about this man, but let's just hear what they had to say about it, and I'll give my response in just a moment. All right? Cool.
50 celebrations. I feel like KRS won. I hate all them shits.
You hate all of them?
Every last one.
I ain't really get to catch them.
See, just exactly, and that's exactly.
I ain't dislike him, but I understood what he was saying.
Who,
like
KRS
some
won?
of the performances was dope. Like even the performance at the Grammys. You know, I'm 47, so that shit was alright for me. But I understand what KRS was saying. Like, yo, y'all wasn't giving us no respect and no props.
What have they could have done better though?
Yeah, they could have definitely.
They could have.
What happened? What? Yeah.
They could have celebrated hip hop and honored hip hop, which is what KRS One was saying. He's saying, why would I show up to these events to celebrate hip hop and there's no hip hop there? And when I say hip hop, I'm talking about the four elements. I didn't see anything honoring the fucking DJs,
graffiti,
producers,
breakdancer.
graffitis, the dancers, the MCs, the fucking it was none of that.
So
it was just performative, record label, run out this artist that clearly looks like they've been having a rough 40 to 50 years this past few. How can I celebrate that? How can I celebrate seeing my favorite nigga, who I grew up thinking this nigga was God, out here looking like fucking Boo Boo the Pooh or Eastside Crackhead or some shit.
So it's more like
singing the
we
slaps.
just gonna give you niggas
That's depressing.
Yeah.
That's not a celebration. That's sad for me.
And
that don't make me feel good about my participation in this thing.
There's no real sense of cohesiveness to it. It's like there was no real big label participation. It just it was lackluster at best.
Yeah, I felt that.
50 years, give something back now.
That's what I was about to say. It was Leachy.
Give something back now.
Leachy.
You showing us all the niggas that have carried this shit and performed for y'all, for y'all's hip hop for 50 years. Now give something back to them. And that would be a celebration to me.
They ain't writing no check.
Well, then why are we celebrating?
Yeah,
then what are all these niggas showing up with their fanciest prom shoes on to do they fucking song, do their little tune? If you ain't writing no check, if you ain't giving back no splits, no masters, no royalties, something got to give. Or it don't, because all you niggas show up and get to shucking and jiving for the look of it.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
They don't have no.
The shucking and jiving, that's how it felt for me.
They don't have any demands.
I don't want to speak for nobody else out there, but that is how it felt for. If you ain't.
All right, so I'm somewhere in between on this one, right? Like, on one hand, I definitely agree with Joe in terms of doing more for the legends, more for these artists that came out in the late 70s, early 80s, those that were not privy to being, signed to multi-million-dollar deals. That was not a thing. Some of those artists back in the days probably got signed for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, if that. Got no royalties, got no nothing off their music. May have gotten a little bit of publishing if they had somebody in their corner to advocate for that, but a lot of times they didn't. Going into the 90s, artists started getting a little bit more equity in their music, but they still were getting tossed around left and right. We know the stories. We've seen the documentaries. We've seen the complaints. We've seen the interviews. So yes, I understand at Hip Hop 50, if we're going to celebrate hip hop music, let's do this in a totalitarian way where you start giving people back what they earned, right? You got this music. It's been out for 30, 40, 50 years. Here's your music back. Here's your royalties. Here's back pay. Here's ownership. If y'all not bringing them into the fold, then what are we celebrating? I understand that completely. On the other hand, the shows, the Grammys, the performances, all of this stuff, all of the different Essence Fest, everybody that's done a hip hop 50 celebration, as an artist in that position, they're taking the opportunity to get on stage and perform their classics. Number one, because there's a huge disconnect between those artists and today's audience. A lot of these people that are watching this stuff have absolutely no idea who these guys are performing on that stage. But it's an opportunity for them to gain awareness. This is an opportunity for them to gain some sort of education about what it is that hip hop is, where it comes from, who were the forefathers, who were the people that set the foundation, who put the blood, sweat, tears, and got the whips. You know what I'm saying? Took the arrows in their back for going over the hill for us to have the hip hop that we have today. So I think it's absolutely necessary that you still have them show up, be on stage, perform their hits, perform their classics, right? And have some semblance of a connection to today's fan base, because there's some people in that crowd that's going to be like, damn, this is actually pretty dope. I didn't know they were so talented back then. This is way before my time. Let me research further into who these people are. That can always happen. Not to mention them being on such a large platform, on nationally, internationally, in some cases, televised events like this. It generates more interest in them on the touring circuit. Therefore, they can get booked, make some more money, go out and do their thing, pay some bills, take care of their kids, grandkids, etc. So I think it's a two-sided coin, and there's no way to get it perfectly right, although I understand Joe's perspective. On the other hand, when it comes to the elements of hip hop and you're talking about the DJing, the producing, the breakdancing, the graffiti, and all of that not being properly represented, let's go ahead and throw DJs out there, because each of these hip hop 50 celebrations have had nothing but legendary DJs. It's not like they got DJ Drama up there doing the fucking shit. They got Jazzy Jeff up there. They got Kid Capri up there. Some instances they got DJ Red Alert or whoever it may be. They may be the most famous people of that era. You might say that there's others that could have used that platform, and I wouldn't push back on that. But they're using DJs from that era, the people that excelled. Grandmaster Flash has shown up, all that. But when it comes to the graffiti, when it comes to the breakdancing, yes, I would admit that that has not been present. We have not seen that. And a lot of people are not even aware that those things are actually tenets of the hip hop family tree. Right? The foundation. We're just uneducated about our own shit. That's just what it is. Right? Hip hop is black culture. It's not the entirety of black culture, but it's owned, created, and fostered by black culture. Unfortunately, we're not all the way connected with our own shit, which is why we don't appreciate it, which is why it could get perverted, which is why it could get to the point where people are not involved on the equity side, where the sellouts happen, where people are putting their lives on the line and not being compensated for it, when the money is actually the most important part, even more important than the art, if I'm being honest, when it comes to people's livelihoods. You know what I'm saying? People's families cannot eat a great record, but they can eat off of the money that they make from putting out a great record if the business is handled ethically, morally correct. So it's a lot to be said, and it's something that's not going to be solved overnight. It's not something that's going to be solved anytime soon for a lot of those artists. I mean, we just saw Black Sheep. They tried to put out a class action lawsuit against Universal and lost. Right? They put it out there for hundreds of millions of dollars. Artists from the 80s, 90s, etc., whose music is now on streaming platforms, whose music is now generating money in the streaming system, but these artists never agreed for their music to be on Spotify or any of these other platforms, right? So they're saying, y'all are making all this money off of us, and y'all are not even going by the original deal I had. We had a 50-50 split in the 90s. Now that it's on Spotify, y'all want to pay us like we're in a 360 deal. It's not right. Their case got thrown the fuck out. So things are not being rectified. Artists are still fighting, trying to pay millions of dollars to attorneys just so that they could get their ownership back for their masters, for their publishing that was wrongfully taken from them. So these are things that are just going to be ongoing fights. Companies like Sony Publishing, they've tried to improve some of their ethics, some of their values. They removed some predatory clauses out of their contracts, retroactively done the same to let artists get out of those contracts. On the publishing side, there are improvements being made, but it's just not happening by large. Now, another pushback that I see, shout out to the Hip Hop Wolf. Somebody in their comments says everything Joe Budden is complaining about, Nas and Mass Appeal actually did. Basically saying the stuff you're asking for was done with Nas and Mass Appeal. They say Nas produced several documentaries highlighting the many different foundational pillars of hip hop, including a documentary on graffiti culture, a documentary on Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box, which is one of the first music video shows that embraced hip hop. And several more. He also put out a podcast on Spotify, which interviewed many pioneers of the genre. He also presented Rakim and Scarface with $500,000 each and free healthcare for the rest of their lives as part of the Paid in Full Foundation. Not to mention the Hip Hop 50 celebration at Yankee Stadium with Run DMC as the headliners. So this is a great point. Shout out to Along Halls. There's your counter. Support Nas and Mass Appeal's efforts rather than what's televised on TV, right? The Mass Appeal Hip Hop 50, it wasn't on nationally syndicated TV, but they did broadcast it for free to watch on YouTube. So there's that. You got to support something. Otherwise, you're just screaming into the void. You're unhappy. You can't be, everything is unsalvageable. And at some point, we had to just acknowledge there's no making you happy, right? But I do appreciate Joe Budden speaking on this. KRS-One has spoken on this. But again, at some point, we have to figure out, are any efforts to be commended, or does everything need to be rectified in one fell swoop, which is never going to happen, and there's no sense of contentment anywhere along the way? That's not something that I can personally answer. I can't speak for the culture. I can't speak for everybody that's participating in this. I just want to see the best for everybody at the end of the day. Let me know what y'all think of this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the post notification bell for all updates. And I will see y'all on the next one, all right? Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. But I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but you run no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. When I catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.